My name is Darren Schinnebarger. I live in Kansas City, Missouri, and this is my near-death experience. This was 2018. I was 46 years old at the time. I had a 5-year-old son. I had been living quite a wild life, and I worked in the auto sales business. I worked for Shawnee Mission Ford, and I was good at it. I loved my job, and I could sell anything. And I worked all the time. I would work 12-hour days, sometimes 6 days a week, and I've even been known to come in and close a deal on Sunday if I needed to. So I was chasing paper. I was about making money, and that's what my life focused on. So it was an ordinary day. I was on top of my game, and I had put out 11 cars, and I had three in the box. That means three more deals that were in the box. I had went home for the day, and a friend of mine came by, and he was like checking on the car stuff, and he's like, "Let's go to the casino." I'm like, "All right, let's go." So we go to the casino. Well, we stop by some people's houses, and we get to the casino. I hit two jackpots, boom, boom, and I'm like, "This is awesome." And I run into a friend of mine, a girlfriend of mine, and I remember my friend. He's like, "Man, you're the luckiest dude in the world." I'm like, "I know." And I mean, like, my life was, I was just on a high on the hog, I guess you'd say. Anyway, we go down the road a ways, and I'm at his hotel, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it feels like someone hit me with a sword, stuck right in my chest, like just like bam, and it doubled me over, and I'm like, "Oh God." And I'm like, something's happening. I don't know what it is, but I can tell that it's serious. And they think I'm playing around. I'm like, "I'm not playing around, man." And I'm like crumpled over and stuff. And I start running down, and I'm like trying to find my friend Nick, and they're trying to hold me back. And they're like, okay, they realize something's wrong. And they're like, "Call 911, call 911." And I get my buddy, and I grabbed him by his shirt, and I was like, "You get me to the hospital." So we jump in the car, and I throw him the keys, and we get in the car. When we got there, I opened the door to get out, and my legs didn't work anymore. And I smacked my head on the concrete really hard because I went to get out, and half of my body didn't work. I remember telling my friend Nick, like, "Oh my God, I'm dying, I'm dying." And he runs over to me. He's like, "You're not dying, you're not dying." And I'm like, and every time I tried to talk, it was like air was coming out of my breath, out of my, like there was a vacuum above my mouth, sucking the air out of me because I was like, so they run and they, the paramedic or the hospital staff, they come out with a gurney, they pick me up, and they're cutting off the clothes on me. Everything's starting to kind of just spin out of control on me. And I remember I gave Nick my phone and wallet and stuff, and I said, "Call my family," and they pushed me off, and I said, "Tell my son I'll be back." They start rushing me down the hall. I woke up 3 or 4 weeks later. At that point, I really didn't know what was going on. They were trying to explain it to me. I know that when you're in a coma, you have really weird illusions and dreams and stuff, okay? And what I'm going to tell you about my experience is totally opposite from that. I had plenty of delusions and dreams, but I can't really. When I was coming out of the coma, I thought that they were doing weird lab experiments on me, and I thought they were making energy drinks out of my bone marrow. Talking to my mother, and she told me that Nick drove me up there, and I'm like, okay. So once I got the trach out, this is 2 weeks later, once I got the trach out, I called my friend Nick and told him, like, "I didn't even save my life for getting me there in time and stuff anyways." So he was like, "Man, you got to tell me what happened." And I was like, "Well, you know what happened." He was like, "No, mate, no. Something weird happened there." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "What happened before you went into the surgery?" And I was like, and so he goes, first he said, when they threw you on there and started rolling you away, you gave me the phone to get all your family. I started hearing you yell for your dad. See, now my dad had died 1 year before this. And he said, "I heard you yelling for your dad." You're like, "Where's my dad? Where's my dad?" And he said, "Then I heard you say, 'Oh my God, I'm with Satan. Somebody help me. I'm with Satan.'" And then you screamed out, "Jesus save me." And he said the entire hospital like went silent. He goes, "It's weird, but I thought you died at that moment. I didn't know." At that point, they stopped me and they said, "You can't be back here, blah, blah, blah." And because I didn't know what happened. So once he told me that, it hit me like it just flooded over me and what happened to me. And all my memory came back like that. Now, here's why earlier when I said, I know you have delusions and stuff, there's a difference between what I'm going to share here and then the weird dreams that I had. And they were like dreams, and when you have dreams, you can't hang on to those things like the detail I have of this experience. Okay, that's why I know that this stuff's real. So when he told me that, I couldn't even talk to him on the phone anymore. I gave him the phone to my family. I was like, "I can't talk," and I cried. I just cried. Every time I tried to tell somebody what happened, I was just emotional, just bah. It was crazy. but I finally got it out. And here's what happened. So I knew that I was dying and I was trying to cross over, like I was leaving this realm. And I was starting to freak out. And my dad had died and I was yelling out for my dad. So I was thinking, oh my God, I'm crossing over. Somebody meet me. I'm freaking out. And I didn't see my dad. I don't know. And all of a sudden everything went black. And I was in this dark void. And I don't know why I said I see Satan. I don't remember seeing Satan. I just know I was in a really bad place. And I was cold on the inside going out, like blanket, since it wasn't going to warm me up. There was a negative presence. It felt like the sin of the world, or my sin, or my negativeness, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But it was pushing me down, and it had like a ridiculous amount of like G-force. You know, when you hit that dip, when you go down a roller coaster, and you're like, whoa. Well, can take that, multiply it by about 1,000. That's what it feels like. I was just being pushed down. And the only thing I could think of at the time was Jesus saved me. And I mean, I wasn't a church goer and a Bible. I just reached out for what was going to work. I worked with. I didn't know. I just said Jesus saved me, I guess. And as soon as I said that, it was so weird because I'm surrounded in this darkness. This little tiny, like little spark lit up in the corner of right here, right in the corner of my eye on the right side. And it was like a little match. And then it just went, and it pushed all the darkness out. And I was engulfed in this bright light, like warm and love. And I remember thinking, I made it. I remember feeling like I'm safe. I'm home. I'm cool. As I was understanding, it was like I'm out of the darkness. That whole negative thing was gone, and I felt lifted up. And as I looked into this light, I could see these other lights of different like colors, and they were like moving around. And the colors that I saw, I can't even names because I've never. It's a different color that I've never seen before, and I can't explain it. And they're very bright. These colors that were just amazing. And then those colors, I started to realize they were mingling. They were intertwining with each other. And as I looked and focused, these colors were souls or spirits. They were other people. They had human faces. I didn't recognize anybody. I didn't recognize one person. I knew everybody. I knew every person there, and they knew me. And they were like welcoming, and it's like they were all in harmony, like in this rejoicing. Like I can't really explain it, man. It was so beautiful. I know I was happy where I was at, and I was cool with where I was at. At about that time, this being came out from the white light, which was white light itself. Now I'm 6'5". This thing was, I had to look up to it. It was just a silhouette. I couldn't see a face, or I don't know if it was an angel or Jesus, or I don't know. I don't know what it was. All I know is it was goodness, and it came out of this light, and it stood beside me. And as soon as I looked up at it, my son's life went past, in my brain went past me, and him having a life without me. And I was like, wait. I remembered I have a 5-year-old son. I remember saying, please, not yet. Don't take me yet. Please let me go back. And boom, I came back. And I don't know, when I came back on this, I just see people in a different light now. Like I used to be pretty superficial. I was pretty, I wanted a good ornament on my arm. I looked at things on the surface. Even in the car business, I wanted it to look good. I mean, I don't know. And then when this happened, I've come back and I see people inner beauty on stuff when I'm talking to them. But when you're sitting there or when you're trying to be all fake and do all these things, that's all worldly. This is so temporary. It's what I've learned. This is so fragile, so temporary, and there's something much bigger on the other side.